Hello, I'm James. Today we will focus on the refugees and other internationally displaced persons in Pakistan. Forcibly displaced persons are people who have been forced from their homes, while refugees are those who flee their homes due to unrest in their country. Let's start with some statistics to help paint the picture. Worldwide, there are about 65 million forcibly displaced persons. In addition, there are about 21 million refugees. More than half of these refugees are from Somalia, Afghanistan, and Syria. The majority of refugees are under the age of 18. Here, we see some statistics regarding the placement of displaced persons from the United Nations Refugee Agency. Pakistan hosts, according to the official UN count, 1.6 million of these people, second only to Turkey. A vast majority of these are from their neighbor, Afghanistan. Pakistan's government conducted their own count and estimates the number of Afghan refugees to be about 2 million, with a possibly equal number of unregistered refugees. So what prompted almost 4 million people to just pack up and leave home? This influx started in 1979 when the Soviet Union invaded Afghanistan, with more coming to Pakistan when the Union pulled out in 1989. More fled the country during Afghanistan's civil war, when the Taliban waged a war against the government. In 2001, the United States and the rest of NATO invaded Afghanistan to wage a war against the Taliban and al-Qaeda. This violence prompted many more Afghans to flee their homes in fear of their lives. A large majority of Afghan refugees in Pakistan, 85% of them, are Pashtuns. So most of the refugees are in Pashtun-dominated areas, such as the Northwest Frontier Province, 62% of the refugees, and northern Baluchistan, about 30% of the refugees. Other areas where refugees are living are Punjab, Sindh, and Azad Kashmir, with refugees also living in Islamabad. In the proper spirit of Ansar-e-Medina, Pakistan has welcomed in millions of their Afghan neighbors. Some sources have called Pakistan the most helpful country for hosting the number of refugees for the length of time they have. In addition, Pakistan has designated a substantial amount of space for refugee camps, although lately, Pakistan's generosity seems to be coming to an end. In June of this year, Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif granted an extension of stay for the Afghani refugees until the end of 2016. While it seems the government and the UN are striving to assist the Afghan refugees return home in a safe and orderly fashion, many Pakistanis are upset about the decision. Refugees from Afghanistan as a whole have been in Pakistan for more than 30 years. There are areas where Afghani officials have been elected by the local refugees. Pakistanis are also concerned about how most Afghani business owners do not pay taxes of any kind. They are also blamed for terrorism in Pakistan. Foreign Affairs Minister Sitarj Aziz said, refugee camps have become safe havens for terrorists. Pakistan is telling the refugees that one would say to a bad roommate, get a job and a new place. The dilemma comes full circle when we look to the future of the Afghani refugees. Many of them have lived in Pakistan for many years. There are lots of second and even third-generation refugees who see Pakistan as their home. Adding to the situation is the instability of Afghanistan. The rebuilding and restructuring will take time, and the politicians involved seem less than excited to get it going, if their progress and delaying is anything to judge by. Pakistan wants the refugees to leave. The refugees are understandably reluctant about leaving home again. The question isn't if the Afghani refugees will leave. It's a question of when, and if it will be voluntary.